Decorating Center. Good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. Later on, after the 10 o'clock news, we'll have open phones for the hour. At 11 o'clock, speaking of West Side Decorating Center, we'll be talking to Mike Stoddard. But for this hour, guess what? Tonight, folks, the season begins in earnest for the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club. We're going to talk about it this morning and the ceremony tonight and a little bit about last year and meet the new commissioner. It's all ahead this morning because we welcome in the studio this morning, first of all, the president, managing partner. He's also one of the governors of the Ontario Hockey League. He is Craig Goslin, fondly known as Goose to his friends.
Good morning, Art. It's opening day. It's like Christmas morning here.
Yeah. What happened to the summer? Would you tell me what happened to the summer?
Yeah, not much of it, that's for sure.
Also with him this morning is the new commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League. We say good morning to Brian Crawford. Morning, Brian.
Yeah, good morning, Art. Great to be here.
Glad to have you with us this morning. Brian was hired to replace the iconic Dave Branch, how long had Dave Branch been commissioner?
45 years.
45 years?
45 years as our commissioner, since 1979, yeah.
Oh, and that's a requirement of the job. So, Brian...
I need to live that long to get to 45 years.
Well, we got a gem here with Brian Crawford. We're thrilled to have him as our commissioner, that's for sure.
Let's talk about that. We'll start out talking about that because we've got a lot to talk about the game tonight. What's the Brian Crawford story? What got you to hockey?
Yeah, it's
back to hockey.
I've had a really fortunate career to this point, having worked in a number of different sports. While growing up playing hockey as a youth, I actually found my way to football a little bit later, and that led to a pretty lengthy playing career in the Canadian Football League. So with the Toronto Argonauts, and played with actually had a teammate that went to Saginaw Valley State, believe it or not.
Oh,
so,
really? No
yeah. So I spent 7 seasons for the Argonauts. Was part of the Players Union and working in sport at the time for a university conference in Ontario. And that kind of led to a love for sport administration and working in sports and giving back in that way. And went on to spend a bunch of time in basketball, and most recently was with the PGA Tour, running the RBC Canadian Open before the OHL came to call. And so for an opportunity to join a league that has such an importance in the communities that it's in, and has such an important role in developing young people, just the type of opportunity you can't pass up.
Let me ask you this, Brian, because we as Americans, we look at Canada, we know hockey is, it's like baseball here. It's the sport of the country, if you will. But what does it mean to a Canadian, particularly the CHL? I mean, the NHL, yeah, okay, it's great. But what does the CHL mean to Canada?
It's one of the most important sports institutions in our country. It is a leader in the sport, not just hockey. But what's most important about it, it is a galvanizing force in all of the communities that it is in Canada. And it is exactly the same here in Saginaw. And I've seen that in just, a day and a half visiting here, that it is important to the community members. It rallies them. It speaks to their shared experience. That Saginaw Spirit logo is representative of what it means to be from this community. And that is the case in community to community across the entire CHL and certainly the OHL as well. So somebody who is, from Sault Ste. Marie and has moved to maybe the greater Toronto area and hasn't lived in Sault Ste. Marie for a number of years, that is still their team. That is still representative of who they are and where they've come from. And so that's what's really special about it. And there aren't too many, institutions out there that have that sort of connection to the communities that the people live in. So that's a special mission and mandate that we have to represent the communities where our franchises are. And, we had a tremendous year last year. Over $7 million was raised for community, charitable partners through our clubs, through various activities and events, thousands of visits to community organizations. That's ultimately, what the fabric of what this league is about.
What's it like to step into a position that was occupied by 45 years by Dave Branch, an iconic figure?
Well, it's a tremendous honor. Dave is an iconic figure in sports in Canada and hockey internationally. To be able to follow in that legacy is a big responsibility. I've had the good fortune of actually doing it once before, just under 45 years, 43 years. The director of the RBC Canadian Open was with Golf Canada when I joined Golf Canada, so have maybe a little bit of experience, and that was a tremendous one as well, and formed a great relationship. A gentleman by the name of Bill Paul. And I've since formed a really good relationship with David, and David agreeing to stay around as a consultant and be available to us was really appealing, certainly for me, and that's a tremendous advantage for our organization to have his knowledge and expertise available as we start a kind of a new era.
What I hear, Goose, is if you find out that there's a sports executive in Canada with 40-some-odd years experience, don't tell him.
Yeah, we want to keep Brian around for a while, for sure.
And not only will Brian be at the game tonight, but I understand Dave Branch is coming down too. Is that right?
Dan McKenzie's coming, the CHL president, and Dave's coming Saturday night. We're gonna
he's coming Saturday.
We're gonna honor Dave Saturday night with raising a banner for Dave Branch to the rafters at the Dow, and Dave's coming Saturday. Yep.
Let me check my script.
Yep. No, it's we're excited to have. We got the commissioner here tonight with Brian and Dan McKenzie, the CHL president, and the retiring commissioner Dave Branch on Saturday.
That'll be fabulous. That's wonderful. So let's talk about tonight. This is a big night. Now, this is a night that was not on the schedule.
It was not.
So explain to everybody how we got to Wednesday.
Well, Brian just mentioned the communities in the OHL and just how special they are, and the ownership groups are the same way. And our game was actually scheduled with Windsor for a midweek game in November, and of course we wanted to kick off the season, and I called the Savage family that owned the Windsor Spitfires and said, could we move the game to the Wednesday and be the first game of the year and raise our banner? No hesitation at all. The Windsor Spitfire ownership group said, absolutely, we're there. We're excited for you guys. They were at every game, by the way. The Windsor Spitfire ownership group was here at every game during the Memorial Cup, rooting for the Saginaw Spirit. It's a great brotherhood, and we're really grateful to Windsor for moving the game tonight. And the game's going to be sold out, so it's going to be a fun time at the Dow.
Yeah, all right. Since you mentioned sold out, there are what? 50 tickets
There's
left?
50 tickets left, yeah. So, you can still get tickets right now if you do it right now and come up to the box office tonight. And
is that without standing room?
Yeah, we still got some standing room to sell, so we have a couple hundred standing rooms. If you want to come to the game, you can come to the box office, and we can likely get you in somehow, some way. But,
yeah,
we'll figure a way. We don't want to turn anybody away, but it's going to be stuffed, which is it's going to be an exciting ceremony, the ceremony to raise the banner. We've rated 22 seasons for this time, Art, and there's not going to be a lot of dry eyes, actually, when they start raising that banner, because it's the game day staff's done a great job with the ceremony. It's going to be really exciting, and it's something that our fans, our community, have earned together. This is a community triumph, and hopefully we build on this, not just with the game of hockey, but with other things in our community that we can continue to say that, hey, listen, Saginaw truly is Saginaw awesome.
Alan, I've said that last game, Hollywood could not have written a better story in any way, shape, or form.
No, and if you take it all the way back to the start of the playoffs, it was the same way. I mean, we just incredible, and there are groups that, by the way, that are looking at doing a movie on it. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, we've been approached and by two different groups, by the way, separate from each other, and so the word's gotten out on it, and who knows what might happen. So
I can see the dollar signs turning in your brain. So
I'd have to share it with Brian here.
He's watching.
Just a little cut.
We'll take a break. We'll be back. Brian Crawford, the new commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League, and Craig Goslin, managing partner of the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club. More ahead here on the Art Lewis Show. Let me take a moment to talk about Quick Lane Freeland, next to my car dealer, McDonald Ford. Quick Lane Freeland is a one-stop for all of your routine maintenance on your automobile, brakes, oil changes, the like. And they work on all makes and models of cars, by the way, keeping your car or truck in tip-top shape. They also offer a product called FrigiFresh. And FrigiFresh is a hospital-grade disinfectant that they place into your air conditioning system. It kills germs, mildew, mold, odors, keeps you healthy in the cabin of your car. Best of all, it's only $20, takes 10 minutes. You do not need an appointment. Just stop in to Quick Lane Freeland, right next to McDonald Ford, and tell them you'd like FrigiFresh. They'll be happy to do it for you. All right, we're back with you. In studio with us is the president and managing partner of the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club. He is Craig Goslin, and with him is the new commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League, Brian Crawford. So, Brian, were there any surprises when you stepped into the role now that you're the new commissioner?
I wouldn't say surprises. What I certainly was taken by, and having grown up in Canada, and I lived in a community in Hamilton that hasn't traditionally actually had an OHL franchise. Had the Bulldogs more recently, but had traditionally had AHL hockey. Had always been chasing an NHL team, but so I knew the importance of it, but I don't think that I maybe was fully appreciative of just how deeply rooted it was for people. And after having announced that I was taking the position, and just the kind of the outpouring that I received from people, the people you kind of met on the street after that would have stories to tell about growing up going to games that had a brother or a cousin or a neighbor, someone who played in the league and had some sort of connection, and just you kind of realize just how deeply rooted it is, to my comments earlier about the importance in the community. So I think that wasn't necessarily something I was surprised by, but I certainly was taken by the level of it, which was, pretty great to hear, of course.
So what is the Brian Crawford signature move now that he's the OHL commissioner?
The signature move.
What do you see as the future and changes, if any?
Well, we definitely want to focus on growing and expanding our business in every way, so that we can continue to invest in hockey and continue to invest in our communities. And certainly that starts with focusing on our brand and figuring out how to reach people. How to communicate with new fans in the ways that they now consume sport and entertainment, how to ensure that we're a sport and entertainment property, one that people come out to because there's a shared experience that they can be part of, that they feel like they're part of something special and unique that's a great value. So all the things that we are already doing, figuring out how to make that bigger and better is really the key. And for me, this is kind of the first of a long series of visits over the next basically 2.5 months to visit all of the communities in the OHL and really learn about our league and learn about the people in it and understand the motivations, the opportunities, the gaps, so that we can chart a course forward.
Guy sitting next to you, pick his brain so there's nothing left in it.
Oh, I've been picking it like crazy already. Listen, what Saginaw's done is, best in class in so many ways. And we've talked a lot about, amongst our leadership and our governors about how we can do a better job of committing to, cooperatively sharing best practices and learning from each other and growing. And if it's, Craig's doing something great here in Saginaw, how do we apply that in the other franchises in our 19 other markets? So, we need to be able to look at each other as allies, when we're off the ice and growing our businesses, and then can be competitors when we're on the ice.
100%. Yep.
So it's easy for us to say that the Memorial Cup here was the best one ever. It's easy to say that. What was the word around the league after people attended? I know there were a lot of folks from various franchises here. What did they say about it?
Yeah, certainly from everything that I've heard, there's nothing but rave reviews about the quality of the event, and not just the games on the ice. Of course, the way it ended was the storybook. The home team wins. The way that to go up, to lose the lead, and then to win it when it is seemingly about to head to overtime. Is incredible. And, I told Craig a quick story. I was leading the RBC Canadian Open still at the time, but had come to an agreement to leave and come to the OHL. And the tournament had just ended. Robert McIntyre won the RBC Canadian Open this year, and we were having our post-champions reception in the clubhouse. And we've got the Memorial Cup final on, and people are watching it. And there's probably not too many people that are in that environment that have a specific connection to either of the two teams that are playing, but it's a great game. It's exciting, and just like the eruption when the goal was scored was incredible. Like for people who are just into the game that realize this was a pretty amazing, sporting moment. And that was pretty cool to see and pretty exciting. And certainly I think all the other componentry, the fan festivals and, engaging other communities, not just Saginaw in hosting it, that's the kind of thing that we want to do and grow and make sure that all of our event properties are done with that level of professionalism and are a premium experience that people will remember, forever.
Have you come down off the high yet, Craig?
No. I mean, and we're so grateful. We had 850 volunteers. Kayla Pionk was our director of the Memorial Cup. Incredible, talented gal. We have great people in our community. The Great Lakes Bay region came together all the way from Isabella County to Midland, Saginaw Bay City through the Thumb, came together to put on an event that was absolutely spectacular. And in so much that the last game on TSN, on the NHL Network, and on CBS here locally with the WNEM, there was 1.8 million households that watched that last game around the globe. Saginaw was put on center stage, and they shined like a shiny penny. And we're so proud of them. And you know what? We haven't come down off it yet. And tonight's banner raising ceremony at the home opener is going to be very special for a lot of people.
Let's talk about tonight and what the plan is.
Yeah, tonight Covenant Healthcare is sponsoring our Fan Fest tonight. So you can come down. We're going to have food trucks down there. Those of you that attended the Memorial Cup Fan Fest, it's going to have a very similar look to it with the food trucks. So we've got vendors set up through there. There's going to be face painting, balloon animal artists there by Party Wheels. We have bounce houses that are there provided by A1 Bounce House Rentals. We have a number of local vendors and businesses that are going to be set up. The fire department is set up with their brand new truck, by the way.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, and it's got the Memorial Cup logo on it.
It does. It does. I saw that.
So we're very thankful to Darren Soldowski and Brendan Bordeaux for doing that for us, the fire chief and the fire marshal. They're great partners with us, and they keep us safe. Two tremendous guys, and all those things. And you look at the public safety that helped us all the way through, the sheriff department, the state police, the city police, all of them working together to make the Memorial Cup so special. So, we're grateful. Tonight's a big thank you to everybody in our community for putting on what was the finest Memorial Cup ever in the CHL.
And the weather's going to be perfect later this afternoon.
It will be, Brian. We saw that, yeah.
Because the Fan Fest starts at 5.
Starts at 5, yeah.
And what time do we anticipate the ceremony beginning?
So Art Lewis, by the way, is the master of ceremonies on the ice for the listeners. And so Art's going to start the ceremony at 7 p.m. And then we're going to be raising that banner at about 7:05. And it's going to be about a 15-minute ceremony and then a puck drop. And it's going to be the whole. I think we're delayed about 25 minutes. So the game starts about 7:25. So. It's that time from 7 to 7.
Is that okay with the league, Brian?
Absolutely.
We did send in a request for approval. So yeah. But no, it's going to be exciting times, and we're really grateful for Covenant step forward. Again, it just shows you the amount of support we get in the community when we want to do something special. Covenant's always been there for us. SVSU, Dow. It's a group of people that really care about our community.
All right, we're going to take a break, come back, talk a little bit about the returning team and what the future holds for the Saginaw Spirit when we return.
I have with me Jeff Carrick from
Back with you in studio with me, Craig Goslin, President Managing Partner of the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club and the new Commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League. He is Brian Crawford. So, Goose, what's the team look like this year? I mean, you come off a Memorial Cup win and the expectations are through the roof.
Well, you know what? It's really interesting because Dave Drinkel and his staff, our general manager and our staff, they've done an amazing job. And I think this is universal in all sports, by the way. It's about scouting and coaching. Scouts, I think, get really highly overlooked when the sports team reaches a pinnacle. We have a great scouting staff, and we have a great general manager, Dave Drinkel, and Brian Proud, our assistant GM. These guys work tirelessly to find players for us, and they put us in a spot where we'll compete again. Even though we used so many assets last year to build the Memorial Cup champion, we have Michael Misa back. We have Zane Perrett coming back from Calgary. Eventually, he's not back tonight. We got Joey Willis back from Nashville. We got Ethan Hay coming back from Tampa Bay tonight. We've got Andrew Oak in goal, who again around the NHL is being touted. He'll get signed sometime this year. So we've got a tremendous group of returners. We have 14 players back off that team last year. So this team is going to be competitive. Are we going to be the favorite? Likely not. But we're going to, you never know. Chris Lasry has been able to find a way to win.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because when the top 10 list came out for the CHL, and I didn't see Saginaw on it, and I went, what's wrong with this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's the roster. There's teams that built up their roster for this year, And but we're going to be a very competitive team. Like I say, we have an outstanding coach, Chris Lazarus, coaching the World Junior team for Team Canada. Dave Drinkel got honored to be the U17 general manager for Team Canada. So these two guys are getting major assignments by Hockey Canada because they're outstanding at what they do, and that's going to be reflected on this team this year after the Memorial Cup. This team's been very, very competitive. Kalen Mangoni, for example, he's going to get 100 points this year. The kid is incredibly talented and he looked great. He's looked great in preseason. So yeah, we've got a number of things to look forward to, and of course the Russian guy, I always kill the pronunciation of his name, but it's Igor Cherninov. Yeah, and he's going to be with us in November, and he's in Anaheim. I'm sorry,
I hear good things about him.
San Jose. I'm sorry, San Jose. Yeah. But San Jose will. He had a minor injury, and they're keeping him there, and we'll have Cherninov here in November.
I've heard good things about him.
Outstanding. Yeah, no, that's so we're gonna be very competitive, and like I say, we've put ourselves in the spot where we win a Memorial Cup, and the following year we're not gonna go to the bottom of the standings. So gonna be fun for the fans.
So let me ask. Is there any chance season tickets are available?
Art, there are season tickets available. We're at 2,100 season tickets right now. Last year we were about 1,750 at this time. So yeah, we're doing a nice job there, and certainly that's the best thing to do right now because a lot of these games are getting sold out, and you're going to want to have season tickets. Yeah, we have plans that are flex plans that from 6 games to 12 games to 20 games to full 34 game packages. So our staff they'll put together a package that fits your lifestyle. So come get them.
So let me ask you this, Craig. We win the Memorial Cup, but it was probably true even before that. When you go out and you recruit players and you want to draft a player, what's the reaction from the player about coming to Saginaw?
So the culture here is second to none. The development culture is second to none. And what happens, the alumni players that come here and leave here, particularly now with the world of social media, right? The word gets out about how we treat the players. And Brian saw it yesterday. There's not a team in the 60-team league that treats their players with more development culture than we do, for lack of a better term. And other teams do it as well. I'm not saying that there's other teams don't do it the way we do, but other teams do it as well. But we're right there at the top. So when agents and families get approached to come to Saginaw, this is a destination. It's a place where players develop there. They become better hockey players. They become better people. And that's kind of the whole nature of this. And Dick Garber and Brandon Bardot and myself don't get too involved in hockey operations. One thing we do ask is that they draft and they bring people into our roster that are full of talent and are full of character, and they got to have them both. And that's what you've got in that dressing room. And our billet families too are just great. We have great host families that look after our kids. They take them into their homes. They treat them as their own. They'll verify the character of the kids that are on this roster. We've come a long way. I mean, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we worked our way through that. We still had good kids, but we didn't have the highest character that we got now. And so our scouts are doing a great job. They know what we want in that dressing room. And the kid may be massively talented, but boy, if he's got some character issues, he's not showing up with the Saginaw Spirit crest. And I'm really proud of the kids that are in our room.
All right, we'll take another break, come back, and revisit some other hockey questions with our guests after these notes.
Congresswoman Elissa Slott.
All right, we're back with you in studio with me, the new commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League. He is Brian Crawford, president managing partner of the Saginaw Spirit Hockey Club. He is Craig Goslin. Let me ask both of you this question. Forever now, and if we look at the players on our team and in the Ontario Hockey League, and I'm just going to use round numbers, maybe 15% of them will get some kind of pro contract at some time. Maybe 3 or 4% of them will make it to the big show. If they're Canadian or if they go back to Canada, they're more than welcome to play in Canadian colleges and universities. In this country, the NCAA says no. With the NIL now in college sports and the transfer portal in college sports, do you see a softening of the NCAA position in terms of allowing our young men to play college hockey if they don't make it into the professionals?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly would appear that there is some potential for change on the horizon. that it's all the reasons that you mentioned, that the landscape has changed dramatically in the NCAA across all the sports the NCAA offers, and certainly hockey is part of that. I think our kind of core belief is that more opportunity for the kids to develop is a really good thing. More opportunity for families to choose what they're going to do following their playing careers in the OHL is a really good thing for them, and it's a good thing for the hockey development pathway as well. There's late bloomers out there that could benefit from having the opportunity to play in the NCAA after their OHL playing days, and can still develop into an elite level player that could have a chance to make a professional league and even the NHL. And also, the opportunity for those kids to continue with their educational goals is cornerstone to what it is that we do. With the scholarship packages, and that is a central part of major junior hockey. That these are young people, and it's our job to develop them, and that is not just on the ice; that's in the classroom and in their lives as well. And so, for American kids to have the opportunity to go to school after their playing career in the OHL and still have the opportunity to play hockey, that's a great thing.
And we're seeing a lot more American kids come into the OHL.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want to be the best development league in the world for players all around the world, Canadian players, American players, international players as well. And that'll be a goal of ours, to continue to fortify ourselves in being the best choice for players from across the globe for their development pathway, both as hockey players and as people. And to have that opportunity to choose where they're going to go and what they're going to do to pursue their academic goals and also their hockey goals, I think is a great thing.
Is there a conduit of conversation between the OHL and the NCAA?
Yeah, that's something that we've certainly have committees established at the CHL level representing all of our leagues, including the OHL, to kind of monitor the changes that are happening in the development system as a whole. Of course, the NCAA being a big part of that, and in understanding through our relationships in hockey, what might be developing, where it's going, what that means, and then more importantly, focusing on ourselves and what we can do as a league, and what the things that we can control, and how we continue to make sure that the player experience is second to none, the development is second to none, and that all of the things that we're doing both on and off the ice are world class.
Had somebody call in a question: what are the name, image, likeness rights like in the OHL, CHL? Non-existent.
Players absolutely.
That's not true.
That's not true, right?
No. Players absolutely have an opportunity to benefit off their name, image, likeness. There's nothing that precludes.
Michael Meese has done that.
Yeah, lots of partnerships throughout the league for players with local partners, and even nationally, you see some of the top players that have had those opportunities. So yeah, that's part of the CHL and has been for quite some time.
And one of the reasons that the NCAA declares that our players are ineligible is because of the fact that they say our field is tainted because we have NHL signed players that have received their bonus, and they say it taints the entire field. Well, with NIL, that argument has really gone out the window, because we got the Ohio State football team right now that some I've heard numbers all the way up to $16-18 million they're paying the players to play there.
And you have the transfer portal where a kid says, I can make more money over there.
Yeah.
There's no loyalty anymore.
Right. So
the loyalty is to the dollar.
Yeah, as Brian said, the change is certainly on the horizon, and the CHL is certainly having that dialogue that hopefully we'll see that happen for you. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the player. It's all about the student athlete. What's best for the student athlete? And if he plays his OHL days and he's still eligible to play in the NCAA, we're hoping that the opportunity opens up.
Yeah, because the operative word there is student, because they still are student athletes.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, remind everybody about the game tonight.
Yep.
What isn't available.
Yeah, tonight we still have some tickets available, and of course Saturday night as well. But we have the Fan Fest by Covenant that starts at 5 p.m. at the Joel Cretien Event Park. Come on down. It's tonight and Saturday night, and so if you're at the Memorial Cup Fan Fest, you're going to see a very similar setting there with the food trucks and all the different bands and excitement down there. So come on down early, even if you're not going to come to the game. Come on down and go to the Fan Fest. It's going to be a really exciting time in Riverfront Saginaw, and certainly the banner raising goes at 7 o'clock. Art Lewis is our MC on the ice. And we're going to have a great time. We're going to have Commissioner Crawford out there and a number of other dignitaries that are going to be out there with the players from last year's team. They're going to be the ones raising the banner. The players are. So it's going to be an exciting time, and certainly we're thrilled and we're grateful is a word for what this community has done to create a culture of a Memorial Cup champion. And we're all Memorial Cup champions. Let's celebrate it tonight.
Brian, first of all, congratulations on becoming the commissioner of the OHL, and glad you chose Saginaw to be your first stop.
Thank you very much, Art. Appreciate it.
Glad to have you. I'll have to do it again. Who are you, Goose? Oh,
thanks, Art. We appreciate everything.
Been with him since, what, 2001?
It's been
just before
this
the team came online.
This will be our 23rd year, Art.
Yeah.
You and I have been doing this, so yeah, it's.
But we're not any older.
No, you look. I think you look good. You look the same as you did 23 years ago.
Yeah,
so.
old.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Thanks a lot.
Right.
We'll be back to close out.
Better access.
Weekdays 5:30 to 9 on WSGW.
All right, that'll do it for this first hour of the Art Lewis Show. Coming up next hour, we will have open phones. We haven't done that in a while, so we'll have open lines for the entire hour. That'll happen after the news from CBS, which will take you around the world and the nation. Michael Percha is in the WSGW newsroom to bring you up on the region and the state of Michigan. All that happens, and then we'll be back with Hour 2 of the Art Lewis Show.
Broadcasting from the...
If you want to evacuate, go someplace safe. We have shelters open. There's shelters all up and down the Gulf Coast.
Tallahassee Mayor John Daly with forecasters expecting Tropical Storm Helene to become a Category 3 hurricane by the time it makes landfall there tomorrow. Meteorologist Stephanie Abrams at the Weather Channel.
This is not just a coastal storm. We will see flooding all the way into the Appalachians, and it's a potential for a foot of rain outside of the cone.
Storm surges of up to 15 feet expected. Israel's military is calling up reserve troops after Hezbollah fired its first missile ever aimed at Tel Aviv. The BBC's Yolande Nell reports from Jerusalem.
This rocket was intercepted without causing any casualties. We've had a briefing from the Israeli military that's confirmed this was the furthest a rocket fired by Hezbollah has ever penetrated inside Israel. But they're saying this was a heavy warhead and it could have gone even further into Israeli territory.
The UN Security Council has scheduled an emergency meeting on Lebanon today. Officials west of Cincinnati say a train car is no longer leaking a flammable substance used to make plastics and rubber. WKRC's Annie Brown from Whitewater Township, Ohio.
The chemical that leaked yesterday from a rail car was styrene. The good news is that leak has stopped. Officials are monitoring that car this morning. However, evacuation is still in place.
Are you planning to roll up a sleeve again?
Only 26% of adults say they will definitely get their updated COVID shot this year. That's according to a new survey by the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases, and is far below the nearly 40% of adults who say they will definitely get a flu shot this year.
CBS's Alexander Tin. Dow down 86. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
No matter where...
Live from the 100.5 and 790 newsroom, this is WSGW News.
Cloudy skies is 64 degrees at 10:05. Good morning. I'm Mike Percha. Police in Genesee County's Davison Township to continue to investigate a bomb threat called into Davison High School on Monday. Police say the threat detailed 5 pipe explosives set to go off in 25 minutes following the call. According to police, the caller of the threat also said a person was armed with an AR-15 rifle in the math wing of the school. The school went into lockdown with students evacuated. A sweep of the building did not find any explosives or firearms. According to WEYI-TV, police say they believe the caller was from somewhere overseas, which means no charges could be filed. However, if the call came from anywhere in the U.S., police say they will find the individuals responsible and make an arrest. The Midland Area Community Foundation has supplied more than $300,000 in grants in the third quarter this year. A grants ranged from $8,000 to $60,000 and focused on building the region's livelihood, developing talent, caring for its people, or enriching the community. Some of the grants include $60,000 to Child and Family Services of Mid-Michigan, $30,000 to Greater Midland Community Centers, $45,000 to Home to Stay Housing Assistance Center, and $25,000 to Lee Township for fire and rescue vehicle response replacement. More information about the grant awardees can be found at midlandfoundation.org. The Heritage High School Homecoming Parade will lead to temporary road closures in Saginaw Township on Friday. Scheduled to start at 4:30 p.m. from Sherwood School, the parade will exit onto southbound Mackinac Road, turning west onto Shattuck, and proceeding north on Center to Heritage. Roads affected include Mackinac, Hempeter, and Center, with Shattuck experiencing closures both east and west between Mackinac and Center. The parade's expected to wrap up between 5:30 and 5:45 p.m. Access to Snow Funeral Home will be from the north. Local businesses will close around 4 o'clock. For questions, call 989-793-2310. WSGW News Time, 10:07.
Quick question. Are you
SGW News Time, 10:08. The weather forecast is coming up. The body of a northern Michigan kayaker missing for more than a year has been recovered. State police report they have found Dale Venema of Ontonagon. He was last seen on Lake Superior July 2023. It started with reports of an overturned kayak, but the search came up empty until Sunday. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is emphasizing the role Michigan business leaders can play in the upcoming November general election. During a Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce webinar, Benson said the advent of AI, or artificial intelligence, has made discerning the truth that much more difficult for voters.
With so much designed to sow seeds of doubt, we know transparency is our friend and knowledge is our friend. And when it comes to in this next month or month and a half, as people begin voting in our state, efforts to discourage participation or cause citizens to hear so much noise that they just give up altogether is greater potential than ever before.
Check your pet's food. There are 2 new recalls that could make them sick. The FDA found samples of Darwin's Natural Pet Products raw cat and dog food testing positive for Salmonella and Listeria. Affected products are sold frozen in 2-pound packages. Also, 2 Answers pet food products tested positive for Salmonella and Listeria as well. Those products are sold frozen in 4-pound cartons. If you have the recalled food, then throw it away. WSGW News Time, 10:10. I'm Mike Percha.
Later on Focus, we'll talk to Mike Stoddard, who owns Westside Decorating Center. That'll be part of the Focus show after the 11 o'clock news. Good morning and welcome to hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. And this will be an open hour, 989-752-6111. That's the number to call to be part of the show. Got a couple of callers waiting, and we'll get to those in just a moment. We'll just take a look at some of the things happening right now, and we may see a tailing of it, particularly in southern Michigan. Helene, according to this headline, Helene, it was a tropical storm and now forming into a hurricane, Category 3 hurricane. Has an explosive forecast, one of the most aggressive in hurricane history. And it looks like it's going to funnel a cone up through Florida and north from there. We'll keep an eye on it. We probably won't see much of anything here in the Midwest, in the mid-Michigan area. But southern Michigan could see some rain from it at some point in time, but not the heavy storm winds and things of that nature that they're going to get in the south. So we'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. All right, let's get to the phones because they're locked and loaded this morning. So we'll begin with Paul. Good morning, Paul in Saginaw.
Morning, Art.
Morning.
Art, on Friday's 9:30 p.m., Andrew Wilkow program on the Salem TV news channel out of L.A., they reported that Biden, in the beginning of his term, put Kamala in charge of connecting Wi-Fi to rural America. And 1,039 days later, and $40 billion with a B spent to date, there is still not one connection to date. So the question is, who got the money, where did it go, and why are there no connections, and why hasn't Kamala been held responsible?
I don't know. I can't answer those questions, but I doubt that there are no connections, because the companies that are out there, I know that many of them are connecting rurally and adding geographic territory all the time. So I doubt the conclusion of the story. Let's put it that way. I'm not favoring her. Don't get me wrong. She probably had nothing to do with it, but the reality is there are connections out there.
Well, she was put in charge of the whole thing, and she said that she was in the room on every single decision that Joe Biden made in the White House and the last one to leave.
Yep.
So she surely knew that his mental decline was there. And, she can't say she didn't know about it or anything like that.
Well, you know my view of that?
What?
She played it smart, because look what it got her.
Right. Yeah.
Period. That's what else is there?
That's true.
You know? What else can you say about it? She played it smart.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, I got one quick
Real quick.
thing. I didn't listen to your show when you talked to O'Reilly about his latest book on the presidents.
Yep.
But last night, this was not in the TV guide. This was on at midnight on Margaret Hoover's PBS show. She had O'Reilly on her show. And she never wanted, because she interviews only liberals, she didn't want O'Reilly on her show because
because he's O'Reilly.
Of the past things that happened at Fox and the sex scandals and the whole 9 yards. But he employed her for 4 years on Fox when he was there. And my point is they were going at each other, cats and dogs, back and forth, and she was trying to ruin his reputation. And it was. I hope they show the repeat so everybody can see. But he got the best of her.
He can hold his own.
He got the best of her at the end, and he nailed her several times.
Yeah. All right.
And I just wanted to bring that out too.
Good enough.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay.
Take care. Bye
Later.
now.
Yeah.
And we move on to Carl in Saginaw. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Art. Yesterday, you had an interview with Paul Young.
Yep.
I seem to remember you weren't that impressed by him during the primary process, a couple months ago when he was running. I just wondered, your overall opinion of him, is it higher now or the same, or?
Probably the same, and that's a tough race. Neither of them jump up at me. And that's my honest reaction. But I'm not telling anybody else how to vote. That's my reaction.
I understand.
And, for all I know, I may still vote for him. I may not. I don't know. And we will have Kristen on in the near future.
Good. One question you asked him yesterday was Social Security.
Yep.
And, he said, no, he's not. He said, yeah, there's a problem coming. He said he does not want to raise the retirement age. And you asked him, well, what's your plan? And there was no plan. He just says,
like both sides.
We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to figure out what to do.
Yeah, like both sides.
That was his plan.
So what's the Democratic plan?
I think the Democrats are talking about raising the retirement age.
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard much about it at all.
But you talk about politicians not giving answers. I mean, that was a non-answer.
Wow.
It was a.
So.
Do you know what his position is on Social Security?
Pretty much, not right now. But then again, I don't know what hers is either. Matter of fact, I don't know what her position is on anything. She's failed to answer every question asked of her.
I don't know what his position is,
Well,
except
it's
the
fine.
Republican
So
line
it's no
right
different.
down the line.
So it's no different on either side.
I guess not.
It's politics today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately for all of
sad.
us, for all of us, it is sad. You're right. Politics has gotten to be disgusting, in my view. It's unfortunate. It's too bad. But we don't gain anything as voters.
Something about the system that leaves us with the candidates that we get, and it just seems like there's something wrong with the process.
Well, listen. Historically, we've said that before. Yet here we are today, still a free society, still a surviving democracy, at least a representative republic form of democracy. And our founding fathers, think of what a phenomenal job they did to give us the tools to get to this point in our history. And I don't see that failing. We say it all the time, we got the two worst choices, the lesser of two evils. That's been said before. Yet the country survives. So, what can I say?
This does not feel like normal times, Art. Not at all.
It's an expansion of communication that makes it feel that way. I have said before, I think social media is the boon and the bane of society. And the boon, unfortunately, takes the lead.
It's not helping. I don't think it's helping at all.
Good enough.
Right now.
All right, got to run. Take care, Carl. Bye-bye. Maria and Mike, hang on. You'll be next.
Better access means...
All right, back with you on the Art Lewis Show, and back to our phones in Saginaw. We find Maria this morning. Maria, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Lewis. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I was listening to the station over the weekend, and I heard your promos for the Midland Antique Fair.
Yeah.
And it was very nice. You did a really good job promoting it. And I was wondering, did you see anything there that really interested you? And did you see things there that took you back to your childhood? I remember when I was a kid, I always loved going into the garage and seeing all those old tools.
Yep.
My great-grandfather was a carpenter, and he built cupboards and stairs that are still in my aunt's house to this day. And it always amazed me how simple the tools were, but it was so great just to see the work they did.
Yep. Well, to answer your question, I did have a little time to walk around and look at some of the buildings and booths, and I always see things to take me back to my childhood because, oh, gee, I used to own one of those. And I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of something very simple. I was a model builder and always been all my life. And there was a gentleman there selling model car kits from the past. Kits that I probably paid $1 for when I was a kid, are selling for $30 plus. And I'm going, wish I still had those, But yeah, I saw a lot of things that take me back in time. And you always do at shows like that. That's the fun of it, I think.
Yeah, it sounded really cool.
It was.
I'm glad you had a nice time.
Thank you, Maria. Glad you listened.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good show.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Welcome.
Bye-bye now. And on we go to Thomas Township and talk to Mike this morning. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, Art. Let me compliment you on the interview that you did the other day with Young, and it was absolutely awesome. I mean, he answered every question that you, except for that, and I'm not even going to criticize him about the Social Security because really nobody, until they get in office and start looking at, things, they can't really do anything about that. And but they're certainly not going to do what.
I have to say, I was a little surprised that he didn't even want to look at the increase in age. That surprised me a little bit because that, to me, has got to be the first step. We've got to adjust it to the actuarial tables, or it's going to fail.
Well, I think you're right, and I hate to see it fail because I'm still in it. Of course, I may not be around by that time. But,
you and me both.
Well, I got you by a few years, but anyway, but he did answer every question, and very, of course, I liked the answers because I liked the way they were going, and he's contradicting a lot of the commercials. I just see I'm going to say the lies because, or partial truths, when I wish that they could make it so that when, because they have to let them say whatever they want to say, but I wish they could make it where they had to say the whole statement, not just pick out, cherry pick.
That's journalism, that's the freedom of the press. They're free to do it the way they want to do it.
But so many people believe that, and, it's unfortunate. And,
it works both ways, though.
Well, yes, it does. Yes, it does. But anyway, I do like that, and I just wish that people would start looking at his last administration, 3.5 years. Yeah, obviously we can't count the last half year because COVID really did him in, Trump, and not anybody that was in it would have been in the same situation. But the 3.5 years, where were we at? We were doing good, and then all of a sudden we're bad, and the border, and if people just got to look at that, look back a little bit. Don't just listen to what it is now and the propaganda and the hype that they have, but look and try to see how were you? How were you doing better? I hate that. I wouldn't think there would be very many people that would say they were doing worse in that administration.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Hey, you take care, my friend.
You too. Thanks. Bye now.
Bye now.
And we chat with Scott in Saginaw. Scott, good morning to you.
Hey, morning, Art. Well, here's some things that we don't have to speculate at all about. Kamala Harris, I've listened to her now on Oprah and all these other little talk things, and here's some things where she's never talked about security for America. She's never talked about strengthening our military. She's never talks about ending these wars or how she could end the wars. She never talks about holding any terrorists accountable. She never talks about creating American jobs, not an economy for everybody, but American jobs. She never talks about lowering costs for Americans on energy.
Let me tell you something, Scott. Let me say something. I'm chuckling because you're listing the never talks. I'd simplify it. She never talks. Period.
But to me, no, she don't. But these are the things. I mean, she uses key words like somebody, a character on The Simpsons or something. The future, family.
Yeah, the catchwords that she thinks will get voters' attention.
Yeah, exactly. We'll leave that alone. But it is kind of scary that she doesn't say anything about the military or strengthening the American family. Because if you listen to what she says, she's going to make an economy that's going to fit everybody. That's called socialism. You're not going to have the rich no more. You're not going to have the poor. Everybody's just going to be under government control.
Actually, you're going to have more poor.
Well, most likely, yeah.
And they're controllable.
Yeah, it is sad. Your last caller hit it on the nail, though. I wish that if you want to use negative stuff that people actually did. Don't make stuff up. And I'm just listening to every one of these Kamala Harris's commercials that she has against Trump, and they're flat out lying, and it's despicable. It's just despicable. Win on your merits. Don't win on trashing somebody.
Yep.
I'll leave it at that, Art.
Good enough, Scott. Thanks. Bye-bye now.
All right. Thanks, Art. Bye.
And it is time for my political use refresher course for all of you. I understood that somebody had called up, I don't know if it was this weekend or when, complaining that we're running those ads for Kamala Harris and all that. So I'm going to give you my crash course in political use advertising. First, what is political use? Political use is a commercial for a particular candidate where the candidate is identified and identifiable in the commercial, which is why you hear them say, I'm so-and-so and I have approved this ad. This ad paid for by so-and-so, such and such. And it's the candidate's voice. Or if it's video, it's the candidate's likeness that's shown. That constitutes what's called political use. And because of that, they qualify under the laws governing radio and television, the communications laws, for the lowest rate we've charged in previous months. In addition, we, as broadcasters, are barred from censoring, restricting, or denying placement of those ads, even if we know that they're blatant lies. We have no choice. We are not allowed to alter them. We are not allowed to deny them placement. We are not allowed to censor them in any way, shape, or form. Now, to separate them from all the other political advertising you hear, when you hear it's paid for by the committee to do this and that, those are not political use ads. And they pay the highest rates. And they're not guaranteed all the same benefits, although typically, in most cases, broadcasters do not deny placement or censor those ads. So that's why you hear what you hear. We can't do anything about it. All right, quick break. We'll come back and get to a couple other folks, Ann and Scott in Freeland. Hang on. We'll get to you when we take care of this business.
Ready to fall.
And we are back with you on the Art Lewis Show. We'll get back to our phones. Ann is in Freeland. Ann, good morning to you.
Good morning, Art. I just want to agree with Scott. He is 100% of what she's saying about Kamala. She hasn't said anything. I know some people that are voting for, but they said they don't know why they're voting for. I was with him yesterday, and I said, I think you better look at her status. I'm for Trump 100%. So, anyways, you have a wonderful show. I listen to you every day.
Thank you, Ann. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And we're going to stay in Freeland and talk to another Scott. Good morning, Scott.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing well.
Just two quick things. As far as Social Security, everybody keeps talking about people going on Social Security. Unfortunately, I know people at my age that are going off Social Security the other end. So there's got to be some.
Why are they going off?
They're dying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I didn't want to say it that way. I meant.
Listen,
we're losing people on both ends.
Yeah,
so there's got to be some type of difference there. And the other thing.
Well, wait, let's talk about that first, Scott. Hang on, I'll get back to your other point. Let's understand there's always been people dying. Nobody gets out of this alive. But the problem is we're living a lot longer than when Social Security first came about, and we had 10 people paying in for every person collecting. Now we're down to less than one person paying for every person collecting, and more people are signing up for it. Eventually, those numbers aren't going to work.
Okay, so why not take the cap and make it 500,000 instead of 160?
Well, in terms of paying into it, you mean?
Correct.
Yeah, fine. Listen, I'll take any solution that works that sounds reasonable. I think that that's proper. But on the other end of that scale, then remember they deserve to get it too.
Oh, that's exactly right. I agree. And wouldn't that help it to continue for them?
It would help. It would help somewhat. I don't know that it would totally save it, because I'm certainly not qualified to get into that high finance stuff. But I don't know that it would totally save it, but it certainly would put it in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So that would be a good start, just in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's a good start. But I also think you have to look at the actuarial table and say that the retirement age might have to be bumped up.
But we could try other things first.
Could. Yeah. You can always try other things first, obviously.
Let's start somewhere. We're not starting anywhere. That's I guess. And then as far as in Michigan, there was on the ballot, abortion. Voted on in Michigan by the people of the state of Michigan, and it
Right.
passed overwhelmingly.
Right.
What politician is ever going to, in the state of Michigan or any of the states where it's legal, try to turn that around? Just like you say with Social Security.
There will
they're not
always be those that will try and turn it around in every state. And then at the federal level, at some point in time, I would be willing to bet, in a unified system, that is where the president, the Senate, and the House are all of the same party, I would be willing to bet if that party is from the right, then there will be an attempt to put in some kind of national control on it. But that's not going to happen right away. And it is a contentious issue, and it is a losing issue for Republicans, particularly particularly if they come out and don't have exceptions for the life of the mother and rape and incest. It's a losing issue for them. Absolutely a losing issue.
Correct. So what makes anyone think that a Republican in the state of Michigan is going to come out and say that I don't want to be elected anymore, I'm going to vote against you, the people of the state of Michigan who supported this and it passed, and now I'm going to go against you?
Well, because most would.
I just don't think.
Well, most wouldn't, but you have to remember. You have to remember that there are a whole host of single-issue people out there whose entire thrust is based around it, and that's all they vote on, for or against. So to say who would ever, there's probably lots of people that would. Would they be successful? Probably not.
Well, I say absolutely not when the vote went so overwhelmingly.
Well, I agree, but that's not to say somebody wouldn't try.
They would not be there long.
Probably not.
I'm like you, but it's none of my business.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
Listen, I like the idea that the states have control of it and they can decide for themselves.
Correct. So in Michigan, the state decided. I don't think it should be every ad on the news, on the TV, on the radio is about abortion.
Well, but in a political season, it's a contentious issue, so you're going to hear about it. And that's just the way it is.
Yep, but that's my opinion.
Good enough.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye now. We'll be back with more.
I have with me Jeff Carrick from
All right, back with you and back to our phones. We have another Scott in Freeland. Scott, good morning.
Hey, how you doing today, Art?
Good.
Hey, everybody's got amnesia. Under Trump, it wasn't that great. As a business owner, I made just as much money under Obama that I did under Trump, and I could buy toilet paper. Under Trump, we couldn't find no toilet paper. He lied to us over and over again. He talked trash about our military over and over again. I just don't understand how people just love this man.
Well, some of that's been debunked. The military trash talk was
debunked.
Well,
no, I've seen that. I've seen it, his mouth. That's not a lie. That's true.
And toilet paper pandemic might have had something to do with supply chain.
That was under Trump.
Well, he didn't cause the pandemic, though.
No, he didn't cause it. But if it happened under that president, just like everybody does about Obama or Biden, if it happens under that president, that's his bag.
Okay, then it's fair to say that inflation is the fault of Biden. Yes?
No, you can't.
Oh, well, why not? Well, wait. You just said if it happened under a president.
Because you guys are going to say that no matter what.
Well, no, you just said it. You just said it. You said if it happened under Trump, it's Trump's responsibility.
No, that's according to you guys.
No, that's what you said.
Well, I'm saying, I worded it wrong.
Oh.
According to you guys.
Oh, I see.
Under Trump, it wasn't that good. As a business owner, I made almost $40,000 less in the first 2 years he was in office. And then once all that tax money, the trillions of dollars he gave to his buddies, after 2 years, it finally started falling into place. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hit, and then it all went downhill because $8 trillion Trump somehow spent somewhere on nothing. And you guys just look at this as that he's the answer to it. He's not the answer. He cost us $8 trillion in 4 years. Get him in there again, and America's done. America's done.
How many trillion did Biden cost us then in his 3.5 years? Because the debt has increased by multiples.
Less than what Trump did. And
No.
Biden actually tried to make it so everything worked out. But, you know, you think you can find a GOP that would do anything for the people of this country if the Democrats say they won't do a thing if a Democrat brings up? As a matter of fact, what have they done in the last 20 years other than help their own side?
Yeah, and you know the answer
They
to
don't
that.
help the average
The
man.
answer to
They don't
that.
help the average man.
The answer to that is it's
I pay
broken on both sides.
$27,000 a year in taxes.
It's broken on both
Under
sides.
Trump. And then now that everything's starting to get back together, because the pandemic is why inflation is up there. It has nothing to do with Trump. It has nothing to do with Biden.
Oh.
But you guys that's all you can talk about. It was the COVID that Trump said was fake, that millions of people died. I lost a lot of my partners that I work with, and they were older than me by 5 to 10 years.
Sorry about
but
that.
COVID took them right out because they were not going to get the vaccination because Trump said it was all a fake, all a lie. That is inhumane.
All right.
I could never vote for anybody that does that. And anybody that does, I just feel for you that you don't have the logic to see what he is about.
Well, that represents
I'm
about
not
half the
saying
country.
Kamala's any better.
Well, there you go. I understand. But you just pointed it
He's a
out.
lot less than what he is.
It's about half the country that disagrees with you and half agrees with you. And that's the
Well,
nature
it
of the
is
beast
true.
right now. That's the nature
But
of the
I can
beast.
see it. I mean, I talk to these people, and they're so deranged about Trump. They're saying things that
All right.
that he didn't even do.
Good enough.
And yet you got all these people backing him up when he's sitting there straight in your face and tells you what he's going to do.
All right.
Oh, he's just hobnobbing around.
Fair enough, Scott.
Come on, open
Gotcha.
your eyes.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Last caller is going to be Carol in Sheridan. Carol, good morning. Got about a minute.
Okay. Go Tigers. I don't hear enough about the Tigers.
Yay!
All I hear is hockey and all this other garbage and nothing
Well,
about the
nothing
Tigers.
garbage about hockey.
Of course not. It helps him play. Okay. And also, I agree with the guy that just called. I know it's bad, but... And,
No, I'll tell you, no,
also-
you're not bad because of that. We're all entitled to our opinion.
Okay,
Nothing
but you
wrong
give
with
people
that.
a rough time if they do agree with a guy. Anyway, and consider the vice presidents, because you've got to remember that Trump is not a young chick either, and so let's consider let's consider this yo-ho that he's picked for his vice president and listen to him. So
Well, that
you
works on
guys
that.
take
I
care.
got news for you. That works on both sides.
Yeah, but this is worse than that. Bye.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Carol. Bye-bye now. That'll do it for calls for this hour in the Art Lewis Show. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for participating. It's what makes it fun. Listen, this is all about opinion. It's opinion, and that's why it's so interesting, because there are so many opinions. It'd be boring if it was just everybody kumbaya, we all agree, you know. It wouldn't be very interesting. All right, we'll be back to close out.
Life can get busy.
All right, that'll do it for the Art Lewis Show for this Wednesday. We thank you for joining us. We'll be back with Focus, talking to Mike Stoddard from Westside Decorating Center right after the news from CBS, and the local report with WSGW's Michael Purchett. That's what's ahead this morning. I'm Art Lewis. We'll talk to you after the news.
Broadcasting from the store.